Hey, that's me. I have a bucket with forks on it, as you can see. So I have a block up underneath it to keep it up, and I have a brick and a block under the back. I'll tell you what happens. The piston is in there from here to here, and it puts weight onto the front end of the loader, and it keeps it down. It keeps the front wheels down. You can see right now, the front wheels aren't actually down. So what happens is the weight in the back of the Bobcat brings it down, lifts the front wheels, brings the fender up to here. Can't get your cylinder out if that's the case. So but you do need your bucket up a little bit so your cylinder can come down, so you can get it out, and you need to keep your front wheels close to the ground so that it doesn't close that gap. So that's why I got blocks and brick, and I got a block up here. So that's the short story of the setting it up. All right, to relieve your pressure, there you go right there. And then there's the lever to bypass the lift lock valve and lower the lift arms, just to take the pressure off of it. Pull and hold the knob and activate the lift arm control, which is the foot pedal. So you pull this, pull it out. It doesn't come out very far. And you activate your left foot pedal. There you go. That's how you relieve the pressure. All right, once you relieve the pressure, then you can take your arms off. All right, this is the pin, and this is representative of all the pins holding in all lift cylinders. It has a cam machined into it back here. Let's see if I can get out of the sunlight. Let you see that. There's a cam machined into it. Each of your lift cylinders, except for one, has a retainer, and it goes into that cam. See, and it retains that pin. So at every lift arm, albeit one, there's this retainer and there's a bolt holding it in. Here's the front retainer, front pin. Here's the bolt. The bolt goes right here. All right, screws in. The retainer's here. Locks your pin in place. You remove those two, this will fall down. It will fall down, so lower it. All right, you got to take your hoses off. I took the mainline hoses, so all I had was the fittings on the cylinder. When I took these off, I plugged them with earplugs. It keeps debris from getting in there, bugs from crawling up in there. So when you take your hoses off, if you've got the plastic screw-in caps for these, use those. I just use earplugs. I've got a bunch of them. I shoot a lot, so I have a supply. Same thing for the rear hose. The rear hose has the earplug in it. Let me see if I can pull that out. There's a rear hose, earplug. There you go. Okay, now the rear pin has a bolt in it. It's not this top hole. It's the bottom hole. It's try to put my finger in there. You can see the bolt if I can focus on it. Right there, right at the tip of my finger. You see the bolt. Now it has to be loosened from inside here. Right there. You have to loosen it here. The bolt is a carriage bolt, which means it has a square place on the shoulder that secures it inside of a square hole in the frame so it doesn't turn. So all you have to do is loosen the nut, making sure you keep your bolt pressed in. That retainer is in here. Take the retainer off from inside here, and all of mine I was able to really honestly push out with my finger. So the pins came out relatively easy. All right, it's the same thing for the rear pin on the right side. I'll try to show you something. That bolt is right there. Here's the bolt. The nut for it is up here on the radiator. And I'm going to tell you what, that was a pain in the butt. So what I did was I accomplished another pain in the butt, and I took my muffler out. So my muffler isn't mounted. I've got one of the 4 bolts in. These are the other 3 bolts up here. That's supposed to go in there. So I'll take this out of the way to get that one in. It was easier. It looked like an easier prospect to do this rather than try to reach in there and get that bolt loose. And not lose it all at the same time. And then you just push that pin out. Same way both sides. Okay, now this pin is a little different. This pin is attached to this. The reason this pin is different is because the safety device goes here. And this is the safety device. So this goes along the bottom here. You can see where I should set it the way it installs. You can see right here where this pad has been pressed in and formed over a long period of time. That's the 2 hoses here on the lift arm, the 2 hard lines that go up to the tilt cylinder. This pin goes through here, then through here, and is secured by the bolt here. So you got the retainer goes here, I'm sorry, you don't have the retainer. The retainer is that metal frame. It's welded onto it. And then there's a spring that goes with, that has to be taken off. And there's a bolt here. Again, I took off the main line, the hard line, and I took off the hose. And the hose is somewhere in there. Anyway, I'll show you that when I connect everything back up, and I'll show you where the spring goes on the lifting arm. It's easy to take off. You don't have to know where it's at to take it off. You just have to take it off. The lift cylinder, same thing. The upper pin is really long. The cylinder is a bigger cylinder. It's a 3-inch instead of a 2-inch cylinder. It goes here. Then here's the retainer and the bolt. I just put those back in place so I can keep track of where they're at. And then on the bucket, I'm going to lower you down into the bucket. Try to show you this. If I can get you in the shadow so you can see it. Pin goes in here. Here's the retainer. Retainer holds the pin. You can see that. I got ear plugs in there. I got to pull those out before you screw them on. Always remember to, if you're going to do that, remember to take those out. And the reason I'm showing you this video this way is because that carrier on this lift cylinder would not come loose. It would not come loose. So I took all 3 of these to Bobcat, had them rebuilt. I don't suggest doing that. I suggest doing it yourself. But I couldn't, and they had the equipment and fixtures to be able to hold this. And basically they took this out a piece at a time. So again, this is the first time I've ever had my cylinders off. I've only recently got the Bobcat, so big problem like that. Rather than mess up the cylinder, the new cylinder is about $1,200. Rather than mess up the tube by trying to get this carrier out and maybe score the rod some, I took it to Bobcat. That way, if they did it, they were responsible. All right, we're going to put them back in. All right, here's my tilt cylinder. It's got a mount here, and it's got a mount here. To do this, I have to lower it down through here and then hang the top pin. Then we can do the bottom pin. So the top pin's got to go in first. So If you look down in here, you can see the hoses are on this side. I probably should show you on this side. The hoses are on this side, so the fittings have to go down. Those fittings have to go down on this side. So which means the Zerk fitting will be straight up, and this pin, this side of the pin has to be on that side of the machine. All right, I'm gonna try to lower it in there. You can, maybe that phone will stay there. So I went hose fittings down, had to blow a little pressure out and rotate that up. The cylinder was extended. Right, my retainer's on this side, so I'm going to start on this side. Put that in there. Okay, I got a little cheater rod right here. When I get this up in here, I'll slide that cheater bar in there to help me out some. Well, all right, got it started. Let me wipe my hands off so I can get to the phone. Let me show you what I did. I pushed that so far in that that cam for the retainer is right there at the edge. So now I can throw that in the floor. So here we go. Put the retainer in there, right? Retainer goes up in there. And you put the bolt in. All right, as you tighten the bolt in, put the bolt in. As you tighten the bolt, lift that retainer up, tighten that down. So now, this pin is captured, it won't come out. All right, so here I'll show you. This is the bracket right here. I had to go over. Initially, I set it down in this area. It's got to go in this area. All right, so we'll do the bottom pin. And naturally, I put this one in first, so this is the one I would take out last as well. Again, take out the bottom one first. All right, so the cylinder goes in here. There we go. All right, got that pushed in. You gotta push it until there. You can see that. But that cam is right there. Oh, I'm sorry, it's right there. So we can take this out. Take the bolt holding the retainer out. The cam is right in place. The retainer will fit right in it. Spin this on around. Bolt lines up with the hole, and we'll screw the bolt in. All right, now we got to come back and tighten all this up. Right now I'm just setting the cylinders in. All right, there's the front one in. Now we have to hook the hoses up. I'm going to pull the earplugs out of there, but before I do, I went ahead and set my catch bucket below it. This Bobcat's a little small, so a regular catch pan won't even fit in here. Set that on the fitting. Set the fitting up here. Tighten her down. Finger tight. onto the lift arms. All right, got 2 pins. The shorter pin goes onto the rod. The longer pin goes onto the barrel, just like it did on the tilt cylinder. All right, I'm putting the same lift cylinder that came on this side back off this, that came off of this side back onto this side. All right, got the cylinder slid back, but not too far in, so that the fitting is out. No pins are installed. I want to make this connection. So here's the hose. I'll pull my earplug out of it that I was using to keep debris out. A good way to hold your cylinder from turning and not breaking off your fitting is to don't hold the cylinder, hold the fitting like this, and then tighten it with this. So you're pulling this one way, pulling this one way, and this the other way to tighten that up, using about the same force in each direction. That way you don't have to worry about shearing this fitting off. Don't forget to put your hoses back in the clamps, the holders, whatever you want to call them. If you need to open up, do it. You can do it with a screwdriver. There we go. Then you just tap them back shut. All right, I'm using a screwdriver to leverage this up rather than my hand. It turned out it was easier to get my hole lined up. I hope you can see that my hole is kind of lined up. All right, I knock the pin in until it's about flush. Now let's take the retainer, go around to the inside, and put the retainer in. Really can't show you because got to use 2 hands. There's nowhere to set the camera, and my GoPro's inside, so I'll show you on the other side. They're fitting up on there. Two wrenches. Equal opposite pressure. Tighten your fitting down. Pull this out. I don't know if you noticed it before, but it was kind of difficult to pull before. Alright, there we go. We're in. Put that retainer in there. Line it up with the hole. Right, I've got the cylinder. I'm going to put this Zerk fitting just over that edge right there. Cylinder's in place. Slide it back this way. So slid it back this way until that Zerk fitting caught that edge. Now we want to put this hose fitting on, or put this hose on this hose fitting and tighten it down. Yes, but need 2 hands to get this fitting on. Get this fitting started. Take my screwdriver, put it in there, and then lift it up. And you can see the hole coming into alignment. So that's what we're shooting for. That little bit of dirt and grime right there, we're going to get that out of the way. So, re-put my... Oh, a little too far, right? That's okay. We'll fix that on the other side. It needs to be about flush, but I can't really. Well, maybe I can. Okay, I can reach it right here. I can reach it right there because I took the muffler out. I didn't like where it was at, so I took the muffler out. The muffler mounts here. All right, this is the same thing we did on the other side, except we were on the other side, we were down in this hole. But now we're going to be up top here. Got that on. I'm going to start the nut. All right, this one's going to get tightened down because the muffler is going to have to be put in place. So I gotta tighten this one down. And I believe that's a 13 millimeter. All right, I've set the muffler in place. Put the 4 bolts here connected to the header. And now there's 2 mounting bolts I need to put in. And then after that, we got to make an adjustment for the pipe. We have to set this piece on here high enough up, but low enough, or set it at the right height, so that this, when the door closes, sits right below that. Okay. This connection is the oddball connection, so safety device is going to go on the inside there like that. It's held up here. Set my pin down. We're pretty lined up, I think. Right there. Put my bracket up, get it lined up with the hole. Take the bolt,